Good evening, everybody. We're coming to you live from Alberta. I'm Madeline, and I'm on the crew of Trucking for Freedom, the docuseries. And I'd like to introduce you all. I know you've met him before, but introduce you to Jeremy, who is our director for Chapter 2.
Hey guys, great to be here with you today.
Yeah, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, of course.
Last week I had the thought with these live streams. I've been on it by myself so many times. I'm like, okay, this is getting a bit ridiculous. We need to start bringing in the crew. What's your experience? We need more than just my face. So I see a couple people hopping on here. Thanks for joining us. I see North 49 RCs coming in from YouTube because I'm able to go live on YouTube as well as Facebook now, which is great. But yeah, for people who are just joining us, we're going to do an interview together of Jeremy, who is our director for Chapter 2, Winter Wildfire of Trucking for Freedom docuseries. So yeah. Anyways, I'm just seeing we've got people still coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Numbers are climbing. Awesome.
Yeah. Correct. Bodin, hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us. While we're waiting for more people to hop on here, I'm going to put the website along the bottom because it's always good to have visitors on the website.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if anybody hasn't seen Chapter 1 yet, you can find it on trekkingforfreedom.com. You have to check it out, how we got here. It's setting up the foundation for this next chapter, Winter Wildfire. And yeah. I am personally very excited about this chapter. This really captures the heart of Canada and the movement, and it's exciting to share. It's going to be the road between wherever people were and Ottawa. So it sets up quite the story, and there's a lot of smiles, a lot of heart, and a lot of tears all at the same time. It's a beautiful story.
Yeah, that kind of encompasses everything that we're doing. A lot of tears, a lot of smiles. I mean, this is a daily thing here. Okay, well, let's just dive in then. So just for the people who are just joining us, I'm Madeline. I'm on the crew of Trucking for Freedom, and this is Jeremy, our director for Chapter 2, and we're going to have a little interview so that you guys can get to know our director a little bit better. And yeah, ask your questions. I'm going to ask my questions, but feel free to jump in on the comments with your own, and I'll post them, and we'll see how well this goes. Okay, so Jeremy, I wanted to start with just basically tell me about your role in Chapter 2. Start out with what's your role in Trucking for Freedom, and then how did you get to the point where you're a director? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, so the role in Chapter 2 is the same as the role in Chapter 1. I'm co-directing with Andrew Peloso. Really, we're doing this hand in hand. I couldn't do it without him, so I can't say that I have any more of a role for Chapter 2, but what we're agreeing to do is so that we don't get burnt out, because we have been on the red line quite a bit lately. We're taking leads on each chapter because we're doing 6 chapters in total. So Andrew took the lead on Chapter 1, and I'm taking the lead on Chapter 2 here. So we're both still co-directing. We're both still making sure that this lands well. I had the privilege of collecting some incredible interviews and some amazing stories along the way over the past month, and I'm very excited to be able to share it with all of you.
Oh, that's great. I'm so excited for Chapter 2. This is like, by the way, folks, only 15 days from tomorrow, so hold on to your doors. All right. So a couple weeks ago, I know that you and a couple of our other crew members, Benza and Matt, you flew out to Ontario to get some interviews. Can you tell me about that? What happened? I know you guys were exhausted. I kind of saw the tail end of that, but yeah, share me what that was about and how that went.
Yeah. So, well, I guess it started even before that. That week was quite a whirlwind for me. I spent the weekend in Victoria at a conference that Brian Peckford and TBUF and all these freedom groups were involved with. Did some wonderful networking out there, and just hearing about what's going on with the doctors and the lawyers and what's going on behind the scenes with lawsuits above and beyond the truckers movement, because everybody has their part in this story. So I was out there doing a little bit of networking, and then came home and to Calgary, and then immediately went out with Benza and with Matt to We flew into Ottawa late at night. We did some interviews in Ottawa. We went up to Niagara, then up to Guelph, then back to Niagara, then into Toronto. And I think it was like a 3-day stint of like 22-hour days. We were pretty much driving through the night every night, and it was a blast. But it was a lot. So I think the next time we do an interview run like that out there, we're gonna budget for a little bit of downtime.
That sounds way better. I mean, the 72 hours straight. I know you guys were up at one point in time for like 23 hours and counting, and just completely exhausted. But I know I've seen bits and pieces of the interviews so far, and it's gold. It is just pure gold. So I mean, to our audience here, to people who are going to be watching chapter 2, it is because of the pure dedication of the team that this is coming to you. So thank you so much. I'm just going to go to the comments quickly here for a moment. Hi guys, thanks for joining us. We've got Lorraine. She says, hello, so glad to see you guys and so excited about chapter 2. 1 was awesome. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you for bringing this to the forefront. God bless you all. Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
Then Corinne says, so looking forward to it. The first one was awesome. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, always. This is what we're here for. Barbara's saying, can't wait for part 2. Yeah, we've had excellent feedback on chapter 1. But going into chapter 2, can you tell me what are the next 15 days going to look like for you in preparation for the release of Winter Wildfire?
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit different this chapter. Andrew and I decided to keep ourselves out of chapter 1. We felt like we'd be able to keep it a little bit less biased by not sharing anything. We actually interviewed ourselves for chapter 1. And decided to withhold our interviews just to make it as unbiased and as relevant and as open-minded as possible. We're going to be interviewing ourselves, so that's actually scheduled for tomorrow. We'll be interviewing Andrew and myself, and then this Saturday we'll be doing another interview, a little bit more B-roll. We've got some creative cinema shots that we'd like to take, and then we go into the edit. The edit is going to be fun. I know the guys have already blocked off 30 minutes from what we've done so far. So we already have a timeline. We'll be splicing that with news articles, and it'll be a good time. I think we're a little bit less stressed about the release this time as we were last time, because there was just so much to do on the first go around. So this one we're excited to release, as opposed to praying and hoping that everything gets pulled off in time for you guys. So so we're really excited.
No, absolutely. The last episode, everyone was just kind of exhausted. We didn't know what to expect. And as that last day before the release rolled around, I mean, Andrew was up all night trying to splice it together and get it released. So here we are. We're here. Things are running a lot more smooth. By chapter 6, we're just going to be pros at this, right? So there's not going to be, God willing, there's not going to be anything wrong. I wanted to comment on at the beginning of that last answer that you had. You started commenting on how, hang on, I'm losing my brain track here. How Andrew and you were staying out of episode 1, out of chapter 1. So when there was a little bit of a sneak peek at the end of chapter 1 where it shows Andrew's calling you and he's like, hey, there's something going on in Ottawa. Do you want to go with me? And I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact wording, but how did it go from, do you want to drive across Canada with me to Ottawa, to we're making a 6-chapter long docuseries on this?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I can tell you the honest truth is that I don't know what I don't think anyone knew what they were expecting. But me personally, I had a lot of work that I needed to attend to, which, by the way, has been pushed off like indefinitely for this year, because this has become the most important thing to us. I mean, we're doing our best to manage the other workloads that we have, but this is honestly our baby for the rest of the year. So that being said, what I thought was the most important thing, I said to Andrew, okay, like, you know what, this is really important to you. You really want to do this? I'll totally go with you. and I'll drive across the country with you, and I'll fly back next week because I'm vaccinated and I can get out of there. And when we started on the road, I mean, day number one, the amount of heart and the amount of passion and the amount of compassion was overwhelming. I haven't felt love like I felt on the way to love or excitement or even adrenaline. I haven't felt anything like that in years, and I was honestly starting to be relatively stagnant in.
Mm.
I mean, it's hard not to be with what was going on. So, so it changed. It changed really quick. We thought after that maybe we'll do like a 20-minute documentary, and then the story just kept on going deeper and deeper and deeper. And then we realized that we wanted to do a full-length documentary, but that was going to take quite some time to pull together. And the information is relevant enough to get out to the public as fast as possible. So we thought, okay, well, we can't take the time to put together a story like this and release it a year from now when it doesn't mean anything anymore, when it's just a story. Right now, we actually have an opportunity to be effective in a stand for freedom, because that's honestly what the heart of the movement was. It wasn't vaccinated, it wasn't unvaccinated, it wasn't any of that. It was just a stand for our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, for our freedom to choose, which I think everyone involved with this movement is standing for. So it was important enough to break into episodes that we could release in a more expedited manner, so that we could use it as information and other groups could use it as information to make a stand for freedom. So that's why the 6 chapters.
Okay. All right. What an incredible adventure you've been on in the last 4 or 5 months here. That's just insane. So on that note though, like, I know every single member of the crew, their lives have been impacted by this, like in great and small ways. Just it's getting larger and larger. So can you share with me what has been the most impactful thing on working on Trucking for Freedom? What has been the most impactful thing on you?
There's been so many valuable. I can honestly say that I'm a different person today as I was at the beginning of the year. And I'd say that there's no one thing that has been impactful. I would say the understanding that I wasn't alone in feeling like I was coerced into doing something that was right for my community, which I didn't believe in the first place, and I fought against like you wouldn't believe, and I took a stand against like you wouldn't believe, and eventually ended up being coerced into something like that. Understanding that I wasn't alone in feeling like that, understanding the amount of misguided information that our government and our legacy media is willing to present to us, and then realizing that we actually have the potential, but not only the potential, but the responsibility to tell the truth. Hence Chronicle Bros. Our idea around this is to chronicle the events that happened in an unbiased way so that we can present truth, because there are two completely opposite ends of the spectrum in media today. And it's scary because it's dividing us. It's tearing our nations apart. And the message here is unity and pulling it all back together. And anything that we can do to take a stand for unity, anything that we can do to take a stand for love, that's what we're here for. And then at the end of the day, it's become the most valuable thing that I could be doing with my time. Whereas at the beginning of the year, I would have never thought that this would be the most valuable thing that I could be doing. But it's making a difference. And we're seeing that around the world.
Oh, that's incredible. Thank you so much for your work on this. Just from me to you. And I know our audience has been saying thank you for everything. We've got Colette saying thank you for everything. We've got Barbara saying you have opened the eyes of many Canadians. And then Corinne again saying think the trucker convoy brought global unity and love, and
Yes.
that's incredibly true.
Yeah.
You touched for a minute there on Chronicle Bros, and for our audience, for the people who don't know what that is, just can you share that with them so that they can
Mhm.
have that knowledge too?
Yeah, so when we started this project, we were under the assumption that this was something that was very cancelable. Um, we've worked in production, we've worked in film for a number of years, and we thought to ourselves, "Okay, this has to be on a different name, so that if and when it gets canceled, we're not wiping out everything that we've ever done." So we created a corporation called Chronicle Bros in our deprived sleep state. But honestly, that was the message that Andrew and I were talking about on our drive from Calgary all the way to Ottawa. Was that was our mission? Our mission was to chronicle the events that happened, and not to be biased, to paint it as we see it. And that's what you can expect from these 6 chapters. You're going to see even your favorite heroes with their downfalls, and you're going to see the people that you thought were the worst based on the legacy media. You're probably going to see some light in them. You're going to see the best and the worst of everyone, because that's what we saw, and we're all human, and we all make mistakes, and that's the story that we want to tell.
Oh, that's incredible. That's exactly what the media is supposed to be doing. And you guys have just taken that up on your shoulders and just run with it. So I'm going to go here to the comments again. Joseph saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you for the fight for freedom you're giving all of us. We all love you. And woohoo, yay, crank up the 80s. There you go. Okay, so what has been your biggest challenge? I want to talk about that because we're talking about all these wonderful, positive things. And I know, like, you've gone through a lot here. What's been your biggest challenge so far with Trucking for Freedom?
Oh, I think the biggest challenge. That's a good question. What's the biggest challenge? I don't usually stop to think about challenges that much, to be honest.
There you
Just
go.
put the energy into trying to overcome the challenges. um, but what would be the biggest challenge? I think the biggest challenge would probably be the Canadian legacy media, in all honesty.
Okay.
We have a PR campaign that is set up to market to the United States so that hopefully that spills back over into Canada. Because the message, if we were to pitch it strictly to Canada, would fall on deaf ears, and the resources wouldn't be made available to us to tell this story if we were to do that. So I would say that was the biggest difficulty for the truckers in the convoy in and of itself. And I would say that that's probably our biggest a challenge right now, making sure that this gets out to as many people as possible.
Okay, yeah. And you know what?
Censorship would be the biggest challenge.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For those who are watching, I mean, go to our website, share with your friends and family, sign up for the email list, which is right there in the website, and help us get this out, because this is basically, we have no advertisements that are going on. So you guys are the ones that are helping us out here. So yeah, www.truckingforfreedom.com. Head on over there and share it with as many people as you can. Okay, Jeremy, for you, I've got one last question, then we're going to wrap it up. So for you personally, with Trucking for Freedom, what are you hoping the impact is going to be internationally, nationally, with people, with our audience? What are you hoping to be the outcome of Trucking for Freedom?
I think my hope for Trucking for Freedom, and I apologize, I'm in my car right now, and there's actually a hailstorm going on, so hopefully my voice isn't being drowned over by the hail.
It's not too bad, actually.
Okay, sounds good. My hope for the nations, my hope for the world, with releasing this and hopefully future documentaries and docuseries around the idea of freedom, is it encourages people to understand that they have a voice, and that they have the right to have a voice, and that we all play a part in keeping a free society, in standing up for what you believe in, and no matter what, it's worth it. It's worth it to take a stand for it's worth it to take a stand for freedom, because when we don't take a stand for freedom, when they're being infringed upon and being taken away, it gets to a place where we don't have it anymore. And that's where we read about in the history books where people had to fight for freedom. And we have it right now. It's being taken away. It's important and valuable to stand for it, because you own it right now. You own it in your rights. You own it in your charters. And not everybody in the world has that. But to take a stand for freedom is wildly important, more than you'll ever know. And if you have an opportunity, ask somebody who fought in a world war. Ask somebody from a communist country. Ask somebody what the cost is to not take a stand, and they will give you the answer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thanks so much, Jeremy. You know what? Thanks to our audience for watching. Again, visit www.truckingforfreedom.com. We're going to wrap this up here tonight. But Jeremy, thanks so much for joining me on this live stream. And
Thank you, Madeline.
I will catch the rest of you next week with another crew member interview. And I'll post it ahead of time so you guys will all figure it out. Jeremy, I'll leave the last word to you.
Thank you all for continuing to show your support. It's amazing. I know that this story has fallen on flat ears or deaf ears for a little while now, just because like the convoy's over, right? But what happened is important. It's important to get out. It's important to remember. And we appreciate your continued engagement with this film as we release it, as we tell the truth, because again, it's important that people understand what happened. It's important that people understand what the stand was being taken for. It's important that people understand why this went to a global scale. And it's important for Canada as a mark in history, and it's important for the world that finally said, after 2 years, enough is enough. We want our freedoms back. So we thank you all so much. I thank you, Madeline, for all the work that you continue to do with the team. You're amazing. Everyone, this lady deserves the utmost respect. She's phenomenal. And everyone on the team. We thank you so much. So yeah, I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude for the team that we have, for all of you, and for the ability and the blessing to be able to tell this story the way it's supposed to be told.
Oh, great. All right, guys, have a great night. I'll catch you next week.